It's considered a sacred bond, holy matrimony. But attitudes about marriage have shifted dramatically since our parents were kids. There was a time when men and women married in their 20s, had a couple of kids, bought a new house, and supposedly lived happily ever after. For a lot of reasons, those days are disappearing, and many of us are okay with that. Fox 13's Ernie Freeman joins us as we explore the state of marriage. And Ernie, you found some pretty interesting trends and attitudes about marriage these days.
I can hear Merle chuckling in the background. I'm not sure why, but some of the findings in a Pew Research Center study are eye-opening. You can kiss the Ozzie and Harriet hard-working man, homemaking woman model of marriage goodbye. Today, there are stay-at-home dads and breadwinning moms. Attitudes about marriage and family in America have shifted dramatically in the last 50 years, so much so that some are starting to question the need to ever say, I do. With a high divorce rate and rapidly changing attitudes about tying the knot, it's worth asking, is marriage a dying institution?
People talk about divorce rates, but the question is, how do you calculate it? And so we know how many marriage licenses there are, we know how many divorces there are, but as a function of time in any given year, you could calculate a percentage.
Finding an accurate divorce rate at any given time might be difficult, but some of the numbers from a recent Pew Research Center study tell a story of a seismic shift in American attitudes about marriage. First, the sense of urgency seems to have disappeared. In the 60s, almost 3 out of every 4 people in their 20s were married. Today, it's barely more than 1 in 4, 26%. Today, just 52% of all U.S. adults are married, a 20 percentage point drop since 1960. A clear sign that more people are willing to wait longer to jump the broom. Memphis businessman John Thomas says tying the knot in his 20s was never really an option.
I wasn't ready spiritually, and I wasn't ready financially, and I wasn't ready in a lot of arenas, and I knew that. And so I had to recognize that I wasn't ready.
And as more people choose to delay or reject marriage altogether, we're becoming more accepting of alternative lifestyles. The Pew study found 57% thought it was okay or didn't matter if people lived together without being married, shacking up. 53% thought it was okay or didn't matter if unmarried couples raised children together. The opposite of what our parents believed 40 and 50 years ago.
That it's wrong to shack up, and you should be married when you lay down at night with another individual.
But in those days, fewer women completed college and held high-paying jobs. Today, women are on par with men in educational and career achievement and deciding these days to go it alone. In 1960, it was almost unheard of that an unwed woman would have a child. It only happened 5% of the time. Today, 41% of all births are to unwed mothers. Eye-opening statistics that raise this question: is marriage in America obsolete? To that question, 46% of the Pew respondents said marriage is obsolete. 58% of single parents agreed, and 62% of cohabitating parents said there is no need for marriage. But even with all the gloomy statistics about the state of marriage, a full 67% of those surveyed say they are optimistic about the institution of marriage and the family.
Marriage is beautiful. You just got to find the right individual.
A hopeful sign that maybe marriage in America is not quite dead yet. One of the most surprising statistics in that Pew Research study is that 42% of people who identify themselves as conservatives say that marriage is obsolete. Conservatives say that. The most shocking stat, though, 72% of black women who have children today, they are not married. And another hopeful sign, though, those of us who are not married, 46% of us want to get married. Marriage not dead, but attitudes about the institution certainly changing in America these days, Merle.
Yeah, and here's the statistics. That is as close as you'll see Ernie Freeman to marriage, standing in front of a sign in a black suit.
Wow.
Okay, we go on. Love and marriage still go hand in hand for many couples. But there's no doubt saying I do today means something completely different than it did decades ago. Fox 13's Melissa Scheffler takes a look at the state of marriage through the eyes of 2 couples.
Reginald Porter and DAVENA Porter have been married longer than Corrie Cross and Michael Martin have been alive. I sat down with both couples to get their take on marriage, and I found, decades apart, they still share some similarities. When I asked my Facebook followers to send me their couple pictures, my wall and inbox were flooded with portraits of love.
At last, my love has come along.
It's all proof people take pride in their commitment. Just ask newly engaged couple Michael Martin and Corrie Cross. They're ready to take the plunge.
The word marriage was a scary word until I met Michael. And that's when I knew that marriage was right for me. It was because I found somebody, that word didn't scare me anymore.
After 3 years of dating, Michael asked Corrie to be his wife.
We wanted to make sure that this is who we want to spend the rest of our lives with. And that's why we spent so many years dating, is we wanted to make sure that I like him in spring, I like him in summer, I like him in fall, I like him in winter, I like him in all the seasons times 3.
Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you.
The Porters have weathered several seasons. Married for 41 years in June, Pastor Reginald Porter and Reverend DAVENA Porter followed the same philosophy. They dated for 2.5 years.
I saw this tall young man walking down the aisle of this church, and there was just something about him.
The Porters were raised here, fell in love here.
And that was our first interaction.
And now they lead the Metropolitan Baptist Church in South Memphis.
I tell couples in pre-marriage counseling that the secret of marriage is commitment.
The younger generation must be getting the idea.
I think it's a commitment.
It's got to be all about compromise.
Licensed professional counselor Travis Hill agrees, but the meaning of commitment hits a deeper level these days.
In the distant past, marriage used to be about combining businesses, dowries, power and control. So it was really just a combination of families. That was really what it was. It was more business than anything else. The idea of romantic love and romantic love for marriages is a fairly new concept.
The Porters say couples today sometimes have unrealistic expectations for their marriages. They're unwilling to work it out.
We live in a world that has already said to young people, you don't have to put up with this.
The reason being, in today's world, someone else is always waiting for you at a click of a mouse. Match.com, Facebook, and other social networks make finding backup plans easy. But once you click in, you can't always go back.
In marriages, that's part of the problem anyways, that there's usually a lack of trust. But the technology is actually enabling the continued lack of trust.
But an instant connection can also ignite a spark or keep it alive.
The way our flirtation, I say, started was on MySpace, which, does that even exist anymore?
The Porters are catching on to the high-tech love letter too, thanks to a social network.
He started in the last couple of weeks. I'm so
Why do you look
impressed.
surprised?
There is a trend in the 21st century that doesn't intimidate the Porters. Lovebirds waiting later in life to tie the knot.
I think persons are coming back to the point that when you finish at the end of the day, you want someone to come home to and to share your tiredness with and make it go away just because they're there.
At the age of 32, Michael is happy he waited.
And the older you get, you realize you can't go through life alone. You need to find a partner. You need to settle down.
Settling down, tying the knot, it's not just about living together.
An unmarried couple doesn't have that, they don't have that tie or that bond. The married couple they've got more to lose.
Pastor Porter says shacking up is just glorified dating.
Marriage is permanent. Living together is not.
Our married couple doesn't recommend it.
When we're dating, we put up with some things, but we always kind of have in the back of our mind that if this doesn't work, I can walk.
But nowadays, many couples are willing to leap into marriage. Corrie and Michael will say I do in October, and they're not looking back. Well, maybe only to laugh at what they thought marriage really meant. Our married couple, newly engaged couple, and counselor all recommended premarital counseling. The Porter said they also include one other party in their marriage, and that's God. Melissa Scheffler, Fox 13 News.
Okay, so here's a question. Is there a Prince Charming for every girl? And given the state of marriage, would she marry him anyway? Coming up later in the show, I sat down with a group of successful unmarried women to get their ideas about the state of marriage.